Hey everyone, welcome back and welcome to another round of TBR around the world. These are my favorite videos to film. I love them so much. I love finding out the books that I'm reading. This was definitely a very hard month for me to pick books. But before we get started, let's go ahead and go through our rolls from last month, because I do add them into my money jars, my little tea containers that I get to save for books. And I did buy books this past month. I spent $10, so I have a feeling that I'm going to be out of money because I overspent before I finished my TBR. So let's go ahead and work on that right now. Okay, so I'm going to use these as tokens because I forgot to cut out more shell tokens for my jar. Okay, so roll number one was a prompt thriller, and for that I was supposed to read The Prisoner by B.A. Paris. This is an ARC copy that's coming out, I believe, in November, and I did finish it, so that's one token for me. Yay. Okay, rule number two was a single club, and that was a freebie, and I was going to read B&V Friends Forever Summer Surf Party, so a Betty and Veronica Archie comic book, and I did read that. Super easy. I think it was only like 30 pages. I didn't realize how short it was. So that was an easy finish. So that's another token. Roll number three was another single cloud, and that was a debut novel. So for this, I read Code of Silence by Tim Schumacher, and I just finished this last night. So I'll talk about that. All these books in my wrap up Friday. And then, oh yeah, forgot to put another token. Roll number four was a double cloud. So I had to find a book that was set in another world and a book with less than 500 reviews. And for that one, I read the Alice in Wonderland Special Collector's Manga Edition, and I did finish it. Finished that early in the month. All right, so I forgot to put another token. All right, and then the last prompt that I had was my last one, which was a travel prompt, and for that one I was supposed to read a packing list on the cover, and for that one I read Words on Fire by Jennifer A. Nielsen. There is a book on the cover, and I would pack a book, either physically or an ebook or an audiobook, so definitely pack a book. So finish that one. So I completed my TBR, so I don't have to add any of these tokens into my donation jar, which is sad because obviously I would like to donate, but I finished my TBR. I think this is the first month where I had no DNFs and got through all my books. I'm so happy. But I spent $10 this past month, and I think I have exactly that in the jar now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so I spent my entire money jar. I don't buy a lot of books though, but that's okay. So I will actually take these out and put them on top because these are extra, and now my money jar is completely empty. That's okay. I don't this is just kind of like a goal of not to overspend on books. So that's not bad, honestly. And I did buy books during my birthday month, but these were after my birthday month. I don't think I bought anything extra besides that. I don't think. All right. So let's go ahead and start on our rolls for this month. So here is the board for the TBR Around the World game. If you don't know what the prompts are, I will put the playlist down below in the description box so you can check out the first video where I explain all the rules and what's happening. But I'm sure we'll hit quite a few different prompts as we travel. So I have to travel all the way to the airplane to take off. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. At least this time I remember to shuffle before the game started. Roll number one. And if you ever have any prompts for me, please feel free to put them in the comments down below because I'm running a little low on prompt cards. And we got a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And a single cloud is just one of the blue prompts. So our first one is a funny book. Ooh, okay. I don't think I have any funny books on my TBR, so we'll have to add one. Okay, that's our first prompt. All right, so for rule number 1, we got a single cloud, which means we get one prompt, and we got funny book. So I thought this was going to be really difficult, but I'm like, I read comic books all the time, and they make me laugh. Like, that's a funny book to me. Like, I don't have to pick a fiction book that I think is going to be funny, because honestly, I don't find a lot of those books. But I think I'm going to go with Garfield, because Garfield always makes me laugh. He's one of my favorites. So I'm going to be reading Garfield Rounds Out by Jim Davis. It's a Garfield comic book about Garfield the cat and his owner, John Arbuckle. One of my favorite comic series of all time, so I thought I would go ahead and read one of those for that prompt. A lot easier than I thought it was going to be. All right, roll number 2. We got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we skipped the first rainbow, which means going down, but we skipped it. Okay, our globe is prompts on a wheel. So I spin a wheel on my phone app, and that's the prompt we are going to be getting. Roll number 2, we got a 5, and so it was a prompt on a wheel. So I spun the wheel. It's probably going to be over here. Why am I sitting over there? But it's probably going to be over here. I spin the wheel, and I got favorite color on the cover or the title. And this was given to me by Belle215, so thank you, Belle, for that prompt. Again, if you have any prompts, feel free to put them in the comments down below. I will give a shout out for whoever gives me those fun prompts once they're in my piles of possibilities. Anyway, so favorite color. Technically, my absolute favorite color is aqua. But I do love greens and blues. So anything green and blue. I'm also really attached to yellow, but forget about that. We're not picking anything yellow today. Just greens and blues. And I found a book that fits both of those because it has green and blue on the cover. And that is right here. Formula of Deception by Carrie Stewart Parks. So I'm going to be reading another Carrie Stewart Parks. I just read one this past month. Again, I'll talk about that in my wrap up. But it has beautiful green and blue. I love the color combinations of this cover. It's green on the spine. Absolutely love it. And this is going to be my choice. So I think I was going to say I did talk about this, but I actually have this in a future video as well. So I did talk about it, just not right now. So it says, after the murder of her twin sister, Murphy Anderson changed her name and appearance and moved to Kodiak, Alaska to avoid the press and publicity. But when local authorities discover she's an artist and request her help in drawing a dying man's memories, she unintentionally ends up in the limelight again and back in the killer's crosshairs. So it sounds really good, and I'm really excited to get to this one. Roll number 3. Oops. 5. Promise I didn't cheat. All right, did anybody notice that a prompt was missing? Because I did, but I found it. It was over where I put my board, but I'm going to have to retape that one down. Okay, so we got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another prompt on the wheel. Okay. Roll number 3. We spun. Yeah, I rolled. We rolled a 5, and we got another prompt on the wheel. We're getting all the wheel prompts. And for this one, I spun the wheel, and we landed on a library book. So I could have picked a Libby book, but I believe that's another prompt in my pile. I think I already got it actually a couple months ago. So I had to pick one that I actually checked out from the library or was going to. And for that one, I've been really wanting to read this one. So it's happening. And it's The Ogress and the Orphans by Kelly Barnhill. I just love this cover. Let me see. There we go. Now you can see it clearly. But it's beautiful, and it's all about this ogress and these orphans and how there's a bad man in the town who is kind of just, he's supposedly a famous dragon slayer, and now he's the mayor, but he's not very good for the town, and is there kidnappings? Yeah, there's one child that goes missing from the orphan house, and the mayor tells the townspeople, hey, maybe the ogress did it. But the townspeople don't know exactly How the Ogress is with the Orphans. And so I'm really excited to get to this one. It's quite long. Wow, it's almost 400 pages long. I didn't realize it was that long. But I am so excited to get to this one. I really hope I enjoy this. Okay, so that's the book that I will be reading for that prompt. Roll number 4. 9. Okay, good. We're getting a little bit higher numbers now. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are you kidding? Are we gonna hit every single globe on the game? There's only 5 globes. I don't know why I put that many globes on the board, but we have 5 globes and we hit them all. Or almost all of them. Okay, so another prompt from the spinner wheel. All right, for roll number 4, we rolled a 9 and we landed on another prompt on the wheel. We're not doing so hot with that, are we? But so I did a random letter generator and guess what it landed on? A Q. Seriously, a Q? That's one of the hardest ones. But I did find one. I did find one that fit. I actually spun it twice and landed on a W after, just in case I couldn't find a Q. But I found a Q on my Nancy Drew list because I want to read through the entire Nancy Drew backlog. There's hundreds of Nancy Drew books that I want to get to. The original series, the Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys Super Mysteries, which I believe this one is. So I'll be reading, let's see, A Question of Guilt by Carolyn Keene, and I don't know anything about it. I didn't look it up or anything. I just know that I'm literally going to be reading probably most of the Nancy Drew books out there. So I had to interlibrary loan it, which takes a lot longer sometimes. It could come from like in my state, but it could come from outside of my state. So it could take a really long time to get to my library. So hopefully it will get here before the end of the month. I'm hoping. Roll number 5. Let's see if we can not hit the last globe. 6. I think we missed it. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We barely missed the last globe. So we got a single cloud prompt. So we picked from the first pile, and this one says a NetGalley arc. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm way behind in my NetGalley arc, so it's good that this came up. I'll have to see which one I want to read. I might have some on there that are from Baker Publishing, and I have some physical copies, so maybe I'll do that. I'll see. All right, NetGalley arc copy. All right, roll number 5. We got a single cloud, and for that one, wrong one. We got a NetGalley arc, and I thought for sure this was gonna be really hard, but not really, because there's a book that I am dying to read on there that is coming out next month, and it might not be an advanced reader copy once I get it, but I'm reading it. I'm actually getting a physical copy too, which I'm really excited about because I really wanted to read the physical copy, and that is the second book. The first book was In Search of a Prince. This one is To Win a Prince by Tony Shiloh, and I am just so thrilled and so excited that I get to read this book and to receive a copy from Baker Publishing. So thank you. They'll be sending me a book hopefully soon because I'm so excited to read it, and I have high hopes for this one. I think it's going to be 5 stars. The first book was 5 stars and one of my favorites of the year for sure. I think the second one's going to be just as good, if not better, I hope. So that's the one I'm going to be reading. I really can't tell you much about it, just that it's about Brielle, who is our main character in the first book. It's about her best friend. So I'm sure it's going to be a love story, and I'm really excited to get to it. All right, hopefully our last roll number 6. Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be our last roll. We rolled an 8. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're at the end. We hit the airplane, which means we pick from this pile because it's got cute little airplanes on it, and all of them are travel style prompts. So let's see what our prompt is for this time. A travel book. So our last roll, which landed us on the airplane to take off, but our travel prompt was a travel book. So initially, I think when I made this prompt, months ago, I think I was thinking more of nonfiction, but I'm not really in a nonfiction mood right now. And so I tried really hard. I was like, is there anything that really interests me? There is one that I'm kind of interested in, but I kind of forgot about it actually while I was doing this. But I have to finish a series up that I'm hoping to finish hopefully this year. I don't know. I've read the first book, but I'm going to be reading the second book in the Bright Empire series by Stephen R. Allahhead, and it's called The Bone House. But it's kind of like a fiction travel book. It is a time travel series, and so I think I could fit it. It's my game, and it still has to do with travel, even though, as I said, I meant this to be nonfiction when I started out, but I think we're going to count it. So I read the first book, honestly, I read it like 2 years ago now, almost. But I still kind of remember the overview of it. So it's about this guy and girl, and they end up finding a portal to time travel, but they get separated and they end up in different times. Well, at the end of the book, they do end up meeting, and then it continues on into the second book. So yes, I'm really excited to continue that series. I've heard it's really good. My dad really enjoyed the series except for the last book. That's what he said. But I think I'm going to enjoy the entire series. I know my friend Holly over at Lovely Day with Holly has really enjoyed that series as well. So I have very high hopes for the rest of the series. That was my last prompt. I don't have a lot of physical books, but I have this one and this one that I can show you. So I'm excited. So these two books are on my list, as well as the rest of the books on my TBR. So I think it's going to be an absolutely great month of reading, and only 6 books. That's not bad. That's definitely not my highest amount that I've gotten, and it's not the lowest amount. So I think it's a nice amount of books for next month. So hey, I'm excited to read all these. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.